Hi everyone, it's Chenso from Reality Art Pod, here to talk about Season 1, Episode 1, the series premiere of Fox's The Snake, titled Who Can You Trust? Before I dive in, I do weekly reality TV recaps, so if you like the content, consider liking and subscribing. Watch along with me by checking out The Snake Tuesday nights on Fox. But let's dive into it. Like all great PowerPoint presentations, the show begins with the dictionary definition of the word snake: a long, limbless reptile or a treacherous, deceptive person. Our host is Jim Jeffries, who is allegedly a comedian. We meet our cast of characters, all of them branded by their careers, from the ex-con to the OnlyFans creator, referring to them all as a bunch of master manipulators. One of them is an HR director. Okay. The slogan of the show is befriend, betray, or be gone. The players pile out of wooden crates in the middle of a field. We meet McLean, the Colts cheerleader who manipulates crowds. Brian spent 3 years in prison and is ready to shank the competition with his unique set of skills. These 15 players are competing to make alliances and relationships, with Jacob the priest channeling God to help him get the win. Frank, the makeup artist, says, "You come for me, I'm gonna put my heel on your neck." Big introduction to Catherine, the tech company manager. She thinks she can crack the code on this and be the villain. And Devontae, the poker player, is confident he could read the other players. Each week, one player will become the snake, earning safety and the power to eliminate someone. The snake will choose the first player to save, and the other players will save each other down the line until it gets down to 2 players, going back to the snake, who then gets to decide which of the 2 players who weren't picked goes home. I really like this format. Brett, the boxer model, is loving it too. In fact, it makes him so excited he flashes us his cleavage. The grand prize is $100,000. Jim starts things off by asking for a volunteer to be in charge. Mina, the bounty hunter, steps up. She'll get to pick 6 players she feels are her strongest competition. She picks Amanda, the lawyer, Kaylee, the police officer, who of course is wearing a bulletproof vest, Cody, the bull rider, Jacob, the pastor, and mysterious Detective Derek, who they only know right now as the man in the blue shirt. Makeup artist Frank is okay with being underestimated and not picked, as a bug flies into his mouth in confessional, but ex-con Brian is pissed that he wasn't picked. Well, it turns out that not being picked was a good thing. While the picked players have dinner, those who aren't picked are taken to a round table where Jim tells them they'll be competing to be the snake. This challenge is about trust. They each have a box in front of them. They have to stick their hand into the box. One player's box has the snake medallion that looks like the eye from the Hocus Pocus spellbook, and the other players will have a big fat snake in their box. Once they stick their hands in their box, they'll try to read their opponent's reactions. Then they'll go around deciding if they want to keep their box or swap with another player. In the end, the player with the box that has the medallion will be the snake. Let me know in the comments, what's the best strategy for this? I think the best is giving an honest reaction to show the group that you can be trusted long term. Over dinner, the picked players gossip and decide they don't trust the woman in the red dress, with the show really pointing out Catherine's red dress, because if they didn't, we would never know what the color red looks like. The other players put their hands in their box. Tech manager Catherine, in the red dress, and the ex-con have great poker faces. Everyone else freaks out and reacts. Besides nonprofit organizer Jack, who is stroking his snake in a way that makes makeup artist Frank think that Jack either has the medallion or is a weirdo who's stroking the snake. They start picking and swapping boxes, with Catherine having her box stolen and then stealing it back. Ex-con Brian is last to choose. Catherine speaks up, telling Brian to take her box because she has the medallion and she wants to show everyone she's an honest player. But Brian doesn't believe her, and in the big reveal, Catherine shows the group that she was honest the whole time. She has the medallion. This was a great play from Catherine. She wins the power. She gets to be performatively honest. Jack also tells us he thought he had the medallion the whole time because he didn't feel the snake in his box and just touched air, which was wild to me. The players all meet back up and they reveal that Catherine's the snake, which really sucks for the bounty hunter and her dinner guests. Jim gives them a day to strategize around the elimination pick'em. They head back to their house where players suss each other out, and Brett yet again flashes his cleavage at us because that's a normal thing that anyone does. Everyone is kissing Catherine's butt, and she's lying to everybody, even telling Detective Derek that her dad was in law enforcement. The next day, players are stressing ahead of the elimination. Catherine continues to bond with ex-con Brian. She's trying to rig the picking order to protect him without exposing their budding alliance. Around the house, other alliances are forming. Pastor Jacob reveals to us that he really went to Harvard, but he's not sharing that with the other players. He teams up with Amanda, the lawyer, and Detective Derek. Mina is the obvious target, having put herself on the line the first day, but she's doing some light work to bond with the other players in an effort to save herself. Cody, the cowboy, is annoying people, going on rounds, asking to be picked and for reassurance. Kaylee, the cop, is trying to flirt with Brett, but he's not interested. She doesn't know the only thing Brett understands is cleavage. He wants to have a cleave-to-cleave conversation, and she is wearing a bulletproof vest. They head to the elimination. Catherine's intention heading into this is to play dumb and emotional. Before making her first pick, Catherine squeezes out some crocodile tears. She chooses Jordan, the HR director, first, calling Jordan her vice president and basically her lackey. Jordan chooses ex-con Brian, just as Catherine planned. They continue picking the rest of the players in their group. Makeup Frank, who tells us he's not a cuckoo bird. OnlyFans Alyssa. Jack, who couldn't feel his Snake, Poker Devante, and the Crimson Cleave Brett. Brett gets to pick the first dinner party guest to be saved. Officer Kaylee thinks that she has it in the bag, calling Brett daddy in confessional, but eek, he chooses Mina, shocking them all, as everyone, including me, thought that Mina would be F'd here. Mina picks lawyer Amanda, who then picks Pastor Jacob, then Detective Derek, saving their little alliance. Derek makes the final save, choosing Cowboy Cody. I guess his begging paid off. Derek calls Cody loyal like a dog. Woof. It goes back to the snake. Catherine has to choose between cop Kaylee and cheerleader McLean, with flashback to Catherine, promising Kaylee she'll be safe, but Catherine turns on her and saves McLean, eliminating Kaylee. On the way out, Kaylee is pissed. She tells the whole cast that there are people that aren't to be trusted, and Catherine calls herself the puppet master in confessional. So we have to say goodbye to Kaylee the cop, who I think suffered from having the most threatening costume out of everybody. I would understand if everyone was dressed up like a village person, but why did Kaylee have to be one of the only people dressed up? And I know she probably wasn't wearing an actual bulletproof vest, but this outfit was a little much. Then she tried to flirt her way out of going home. She had a cute little hairdo, but that outfit just wasn't doing it for Brett. I don't know where it all went wrong for her because she had Catherine promise her safety, and McLean was shown doing nothing this episode, but maybe the streets will be safer with Officer McLean back on duty. So that's the episode. I thought this was a really fun show. They had to pack a lot into this hour, and with so many players, it's hard to keep up with what everyone's strategy is. It does make it a bit easier to remember that everyone has an alias of their career, but I fear those labels kind of dehumanize the players and reduce them to just their job, which is a slippery slope. This show would be a lot better if alleged comedian host Jim made any funny jokes. The only joke he told all episode was a cheerleader, a cop, and a cowboy walk into a bar, which doesn't make me feel hopeful for his material. But overall, so far, I'm a fan of the show. The format is interesting, and it'll be easier to keep track as the numbers dwindle down. But that's all I have to say about this episode. I'll be back next week for more Snake. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Did anyone else have to pause this episode because there was a Labubu drop at 9:30? I didn't get my precious, exciting macaron, but at least I get to chat with you all in the comments. Until next time, you know where to find me. Bye.